A little boy 8 years of age with spiky blonde hair, with blue eyes, and 3 whiskers like marks on each cheek. Name was Naruto, and he was running through the street scared because a mob was chasing him. "Get back here, you demon!" yelled a villager while holding a sharp knife. "Die, demon!" screamed a shinobi with a kunai. More bloodthirsty screams of anger was heard soon after. Little Naruto ran through a small alleyway only to end up at a dead end, and then huddled into a corner, hoping they didn't see him come down through here. When they found him, they all started laughing at what he was doing. "Look, the demon is trying to protect himself," said a shinobi. "Too bad that won't work, demon," said another shinobi. They all then started stabbing him, cutting him, and beating him like a bunch of wild animals. Meanwhile, a very young Jonin was passing through the gate, not too long after finishing a mission. He showed the guards his license and let him pass through. It was Itachi, who is considered a well-known ninja in Konoha. And Itachi left the ANBU and changed to be a Jonin, and also he doesn't live with his family in this fanfic. As he was walking towards his apartment, he heard yells of happy, bloodthirsty screams coming from an ally. He also heard a small child screaming out for help. He walked over to investigate, and he saw Naruto getting beaten and stabbed by the mob, and he became angry. So he dove in to rescue the boy. They at first wondered what was going on, but once they noticed who was in front of the boy, they started to become scared. "I Itachi, what are you doing here?" said a very scared shinobi. Maybe he's here to help us KK kill the demo," began a villager, but was killed by Itachi with a kunai to the throat and his Sharingan activated, spinning violently. They all started screaming and running from the angry Uchiha to avoid getting killed. Itachi started to run towards the hospital to get Naruto help. "Don't worry, Naruto, you'll soon get help, I promise," said a worried Itachi. "I Itachi-chan and I-san," said Naruto very weakly, who then passed out. Itachi then went as fast as his legs could go. He then arrived at the hospital and quickly went in and ran up to the front desk. A nurse looked up and saw Itachi and then saw a very beaten Naruto. "I'm sorry, we don't have any available rooms for him," the nurse said with anger. Itachi then flared his Sharingan at the nurse and said, "You will help him, or so help me," also flaring his killing intent at her. It was so strong that it was felt by the Hokage, who decided to investigate. When he arrived at the hospital via Shushin, he saw Itachi, who was holding a bloody and beaten Naruto, was staring a nurse with his Sharingan activated. "Naruto-kun," said a very worried Hokage and ran up to Itachi. "Nurse, put Naruto in a room right now," yelled the Hokage. She obeyed him and ran Naruto to a room to begin treatment on him. Itachi and the Hokage were in the room as they were beginning to discuss what had happened to Naruto. "What happened?" asked the Hokage. Itachi began to explain, but was interrupted by one of the doctors. "I'm sorry, you two will have to wait outside while we do the procedure," said a doctor. Itachi and the Hokage decided not to, in case that they would try and kill Naruto while they weren't in there. "Damn it," the doctor mentally cursed. After a while, the doctors said that he would be okay, and they left quickly. The Hokage called a few ENBU to protect Naruto, and they obeyed. Hokage Tower. Itachi and the Hokage were discussing things about Naruto, and Itachi then came up with a solution that could help Naruto. "Hokage-sama, I was wondering if I could adopt Naruto and he could live with me in my apartment," said a hopeful Itachi, and the Hokage just stared blankly at Itachi and then smiled very happily. "Of course you can, Itachi. He sees you as a brother figure, and I'm sure that he would love to live with you," said an overjoyed Hokage. "Thank you, Hokage-sama," he said as he bowed and left. "Thank Kami that Naruto will finally get a better place to live," thought the Hokage. He then pulled out a very familiar orange book and started to giggle perversely as blood dripped from his nose. Hospital / the next day. Itachi and the Hokage were walking into the hospital to see Naruto. They walked into Naruto's room, and he yelled Itachi and Aji-san very happily. "Hello, Naruto-kun. How are you feeling after that experience?" the aged Hokage said to the boy. "I feel great, and thanks Nasan for helping me with that mob," said Naruto. "No need to thank me, Naruto-kun," said Itachi, not wanting to be thanked right now. "Naruto, we have something that we want to ask you, as it would be your choice to do it," said the Hokage. What is it, Aji-san? Is it something good? Said Naruto. Well, Itachi and I were talking, and Itachi asked me if he could adopt you and let you live with him, said a hopeful Hokage. Live with Itachi. Of course I would love to live with you, Itachi and I-san, yelled an overjoyed Naruto. Good then, now we will go to the orphanage and get the paperwork done, said the Hokage while he was smiling, but that changed when Naruto said something. Aji-san, I no longer live at the orphanage. They kicked me out 2 years ago on my birthday. They did what to you, Naruto Kun? I will deal with it soon, very, very soon. Thought a very angry Hokage, then saddened look crossed his face. How come you never told me, Naruto? Well, you're always so busy with the village, and I didn't want you to be bothered by something I could handle on my own. Naruto, you didn't need to do this alone. You can always call on me. Okay. One more thing, Aji-san. Why didn't you tell me that the QB was sealed in me? Asked Naruto. Itachi and Hokage stopped right in front of the door and looked at each other with shocked faces, and then looked towards Naruto. They then place all kinds of seals to avoid any interruption. Okay, now Naruto, tell us how you found out about the QB and him being sealed in you, asked the Hokage. First off, the QB is actually a girl, correcting the Hokage. They just sat there listening to the young boy. Shaking from their shock, they then asked, tell us everything that happened. Flashback/Mindscape. Little Naruto was walking through a place that looked like a sewer, and he was ankle deep in water. He then came up to a room with a large cage door and a seal in the middle of the cage. Naruto then walked closer to the cage and stopped when he heard a large booming voice coming from inside the cage. So my jailer finally comes to see me. What do you want, kid? Who are you and where am I? Asked Naruto, not worried about who it was. Oh, come on, you never seen the QB before. Aren't you supposed to have been killed by the Yondeami 5 years ago? Said Naruto, still not scared about it. And what about my second question? First of all, you can't kill me. I would just be reborn in hell and just come back over time. And to answer that second question, you are in your mindscape, said the QB. Then how did you end up inside me? I was sealed by your Yondeami 5 years ago and into this cage, the QB replied. Okay then, so why am I here now? Did you want to tell me something? Asked Naruto. Yes, I did want to tell you something. Several things in fact, said the QB. Like what? Well, first of all, I'm really a female, and this is just my fox form. I actually have a human form. Would you like to see it? He nodded, and then she started to shrink down to a human-like shape, and he walked closer to see. What he saw was a very beautiful woman with a heart-shaped face and blood-red hair, red silted eyes, but she was naked, and he noticed that she had very large breasts, at least large C-cups to mid-DS. So Naruto turned away, blushing with some blood coming out of his nose while stuttering. CC and YUP, please put some sissy clothing on. Sorry. Is this better? Naruto turned around and saw that she had a beautiful crimson kimono on. It had blue trim to it that hugged her curves. Yes, thanks. Second thing that I want to tell you is that I didn't attack the Konoha on purpose. I was forced out of my previous Jinchuriki, Kushina Uzumaki, who I think is your mother, by a man wearing a strange mask, and forced me to attack the village. You knew my mother, what was she like, and do you know who my father was as well? Those questions would probably have to be answered by your Hokage. Oh, okay, you can continue now. The final things that I wanted to ask you is, do you want me to unlock your dojutsu? What is that? It's a special type of Ijutsu. The one I want to unlock for you is what Itachi's family has. It's called the Sharingan. What can it do? That dojutsu can give you the ability to copy and see through any ninjutsu, jinjutsu, or taijutsu. Then yes, please give me eyes like an Aizen has. Red energy flowed out of the QB and to Naruto. It crept up his smell body and into his eyes. Pain flooded his body, forcing him to scram out. After a few painful moments. Can I use it now so I can see what it looks like? Asked a very happy and tired Naruto. Sure. All you need to do is put a little chakra into your eyes and then look into this mirror to see it. He did what she said, and it looked amazing. Blood-red eyes stared back, a single black comma-like shape slowly circled around his pupil. Thanks, Q-chan. It looks amazing. Also, there is something that you gain through having me, and that is the ability to use all 5 main elements, including the ability to combine them into sub-elements with hard training, she said. That's so cool. So, how do I get out of this place anyway? Just wake up and I think someone is coming, so hurry up, she said quickly. Naruto then woke up just in time to see Itachi and the Hokage come in. Flashback end. What happened on the outside were different things. When the human form of the QB was described, the Hokage and Itachi were blown back by major nosebleeds. The part about being forced to attack Konoha, the two felt sorry for accusing her. Finally, the part about his new dojutsu and how he can learn every element made them nearly faint. It looks like Naruto-kun will become one of the world's strongest people if he trains long enough. Hey, maybe you Itachi could help train Naruto-kun. I'll even put him in the academy in 2 or 3 years to be with many of the next clan heirs, offered the Hokage. Naruto looked like he was about to explode with joy as he smiled happily. Yeah, I'm going to be a ninja, shouted Naruto. He then remembered what he wanted to ask Aji-san. Aji-san, who was my father? I already know that my mother is Kushina Uzumaki. So who was he? Naruto questioned, and the Hokage started sweating bullets. Okay, then your father was Minato Namikaze the Yondaime, 4th Hokage, said the old man as Naruto and Itachi just fainted at the answer. Looks like they took it too fast, he laughed the Hokage, then pulled out a little orange book to read while waiting for them to wake up. 30 minutes later, Itachi and Naruto woke up to the Hokage reading an orange book while making perverted giggles. Hokage-sama / Oji-san. They both said at the same time, scaring the Hokage half to death. Sorry. So anyway, Naruto-kun, could we see those new eyes of yours? Asked the Hokage. Naruto then closed his eyes and put chakra into his eyes, activating it. When he opened them, they saw Naruto's new Sharingan looking at them. Itachi smiled at how the Sharingan ever present in its glory. Naruto then took chakra away from his eyes, turning them back to normal. So what was that about adopting me, Nason? He asked. Itachi then snapped back to reality and answered him. Huh. Oh, as I said, I was wondering if you would like to come live with me in my apartment. Sure, I would love to. Would you also train me? He asked. Sure, why not? That afternoon / Itachi's apartment. Here we are. Your room is down the hall on the left, Itachi said. Okay, and I send thanks. Naruto replied. I'll make dinner soon, so make yourself at home. As Naruto walked around his apartment, it was fairly normal. Had a 1 kitchen, 1 bathroom, a small living room, but it did have 2 bedrooms. The walls were painted a light blue, with some pictures of Itachi's family, mostly of his mother and brother Sasuke, who he has seen around the village. Some pictures of friends or of cousins. But he couldn't find much with his father, and he never looked happy. Not knowing how families worked, he didn't think much of it. Soon he came to his room, and the first thing he noticed was the bed, mostly due to the fact it was the only thing in the whole room. But he didn't care because up to now he always slept outside, even at the place where all the other kids were, and people brought them home to become their son or daughter. He didn't like it there. The people in charge would often beat him and not feed him most of the time for days on end. Hell, they made him sleep outside after a beating on the coldest day of winter. Assholes, he thought out loud with a small amount of anger. I'm sorry if the room is not to your liking, I didn't have time to shop yet. Itachi said with amusement in his voice as he cleaned his hands off on a towel, knowing ever while Naruto wasn't talking about his room. Naruto, now embarrassed, couldn't hide his red face. No. I mean, it's nothing about the room, I love it. This is the first bed I will ever sleep in. It's just, never mind, it doesn't matter now. I live with my Ni-san now, that's all that matters. He said with smile on the last part. Smiles cross on his lips. Good you feel that way because you're stuck with me for now. Go on, dinner is waiting. I'll be out in a minute. Naruto quickly left to the table in the kitchen, leaving a dust trail behind him. Itachi's smile slowly turns to a frown. His first bed? Were we at war and I didn't notice? He soon left the room to join Naruto, and what stuff made him smile. Sitting at the table was Naruto, his food untouched, obviously waiting for him, and openly showing how impatient he was getting if his grumbling was any indicating. Why did you wait so long to eat, Naruto? I thought you would have eaten both our plates by now. Hey, I'm not that bad. Okay, so maybe I'm that bad, but I wanted our first dinner as a family to be eaten together, he said, looking at the ground. He closed his eyes, ready to cry, thinking he did something wrong, and was scared that his Ni-san wouldn't want him around now. Itachi smiled, touched that Naruto would do something so out of character. Reaching over, he placed his hand on his spiky blonde hair and rubbed gently. Naruto was shocked at the feeling and opened his eyes to see Itachi smiling brightly at him. As brightly as one gets with him anyways. Naruto was used to having someone put hands on him, but it was to cause him bodily harm. Seeing this caring act made him cry and feel safe. Truly safe, like nothing could ever hurt him. They soon eat their food in pace and made small talk. As they enjoyed their night, their laughter filled the air of the apartment. The night ended with a movie Itachi had bought that morning, a Princess Gale that just came out. Naruto was entranced by the movie, and Itachi couldn't help but smile at Naruto's antics. After the movie, Itachi put Naruto to bed. Good night, Naruto-kun, sweet dreams. Good night, Itachi and I-san. Thanks. Today was the best day of my life, said Naruto with a true smile, the one he didn't put up in front of people, but the smile of a little boy, just as it should be. Itachi decided in that moment to protect him in any way he could, to have him truly smile for as long and as often as possible. Right after Naruto was out like a light within 2 seconds. Itachi had to stifle a laugh for just how quickly Naruto would be full of energy 1 second, then out the next. That night, Naruto was, for the first time in his small life, was able to sleep peacefully with no worries. The next day, after getting up and taking a shower, Itachi has to get Naruto up to start the day. Naruto-kun, time to get up. No response. He puts his hand on Naruto's shoulder and lightly shacks him. Come on, Naruto-kun, we have a full day planned. Still no response from the blonde boy. Itachi was known as a fairly even-tempered man, but even he had limits this early. Naruto-kun, get up now. Oh, screams Naruto as he falls from his bed, his blanket wrapped around him. Oh, good morning, and Naruto said tiredly. Recomposing himself, Itachi watched as Naruto untangled himself from the blanket. Naruto, after we are done eating and you take a shower, we're going shopping to get you something new to wear. Can you teach how to do some ninja stuff? Sure, I think a good to start would how to unlock all of your chakra. Nisan, can I do that? I can already use the Sharingan after all. No, you're only using a small pro-chain of your overall chakra, just as much as it takes to use it. The rest is still locked inside of you. Naruto closed his eye in thought and tilted his hand to the side much as a fox would. Okay, so if I can unlock the rest, I can learn really cool jutsu? Itachi simply nodded his head. Sweet. I'm gonna learn how to do cool jutsu, just like Inaya-san. Itachi smiled and laughed at the young boy's enthusiasm. Well, if you wish to learn, we better eat and get going then. At a clothing shop in the Uchiha district. And that they did. 30 minutes later, they were out the door and on their way to a clothing store. When the shopkeeper glared at Naruto, Itachi shot him one back, daring him to try something. The killer intent liking from Itachi made the man back off faster than you could blink. An hour later of shopping, Naruto walked out of the dressing room in some new clothing. Naruto was wearing a black t-shirt with an orange spiral on the back, black umbu pants, and black fingerless gloves with metal studs where his knuckles would be. And to finish the emo look, Itachi was throwing at him black shinobi sandals were on his feet. You look good, Naruto-kun. Thanks, Inai-san, but it's like it's missing something. I think you're right. Hold on, I'll be right back. With that, Itachi took off for 2 or 3 minutes. He returns with something held under his arm. Here, try this on, I think it will look good on you. Naruto unfolded it to find it was a very dark blue jacket that went down to his ankles. Black leather straps hung off the front, made to quickly do or undo them. On the inside were pockets for scrolls or offhand stuff lined with steel mesh to protect the wearer. On the left shoulder was metal plate, and the right side, the size of Naruto's hand, was imprinted proudly the Uchiha crest. Without a second thought, he put on the jacket his Inai-san gave him. This is so cool, I look like a badass. Naruto proudly yelled. You won't sound the part if you keep yelling like that, though. Itachi chuckled when Naruto began to pout. That also doesn't help your case any. He mused at the youth. Hey, Inai-san, what's that thing on that back? It looks like a holder? Asked Naruto with a confused look. Oh, you'll see, Naruto. At the Flying Dragon weapon shop. Next, they headed off a weapon story and a basic set of kunai and shuriken, which was 40 of each. Mesh armor of different sizes with steel arm and leg guards. When Naruto wasn't looking, Itachi also paid for a set of special wrapping of legs and arms. Naruto walked around the store, eyeing the many and varying items. They had every weapon a person could ask for. Looking over every weapon they had, Naruto felt he was in a candy story. "That one is taking a liking to my shop, it seems," said the gruff-looking shop owner said to Itachi as Naruto had stars in his eyes. He was as tall as Itachi with many scars on his face and arms. A strong-looking body honed from years of blacksmithing. Neat tucked brown hair tied in a ponytail with a goatee, complete with deep brown eyes. "Indeed, it seems he is. His the boy, it's he?" Itachi nodded. "Well, his welcome's here any time. Fuck the pig-headed people. You better be good to him. Itachi has had a hard life. He needs you, someone to look after him and care for him." "Yes, he does. And I'll be there for him. Don't make the mistake thinking I won't," said Naruto's adoptive brother in a hard voice. "I just wouldn't want my daughter to have to live the life he had to live, that all." "Speaking of your daughter, how is Tintin doing, Myosha?" Itachi asked. "She is doing very well in the academy. Perfect aim, never misses once," said the proud father. "Hey, and I-san, look at what I found," Naruto said as he ran up to them with a sword in its sheath wrapped in a cloth. "Let's see it, Naruto-kun." After grabbing sword and unwrapping it, the sheath and handle were rectangular in shape and midnight black in color. The handle itself had a small indent where a deep red like blood color metal was placed. Pulling it out slowly, it gave of a beautiful ringing noise. The blade was silver with a reddish blade edge and looked deadly. Think Sasuke's sword from Shippuden, but with the colors. "This is a beautiful sword, Naruto. How did you find this?" Itachi asked as he sheathed it. "I don't know. I guess something just called out to me. It's really weird to explain." "I see. Well, in that case, their only thing to do." Itachi smiled at Naruto, then handed the sword to the man. "As of today, Naruto, the sword is yours. Take good care of it." What are you serious in, I-san?" After a nod, Naruto, keeping looking like he couldn't believe what just happened. "Are you going to teach me how to use it?" "I will teach what I can. Come on now, let's go unlock the rest of your chakra now, Naruto." "Okay." At the academy training grounds. They soon found themselves at the academy's training ground. Naruto had taken off his jacket and had Itachi to hold on to. After explaining the basics of chakra to Naruto, we find our blonde hero sitting on a seal array trying to unlock his chakra, but so far to no luck. "Nisan, what does chakras feel like?" I guess the best way to say it is it's a warm feeling. When you feel Naruto-kun, you grab it and pull it. Pull as much as you can. Keep pulling it to the point won't budge anymore." With a nod, Naruto closes his eyes to feel his chakra. Soon a sensation Itachi described could be felt. Naruto did what he was told and pulled it. But no matter how much he pulled, it kept coming, so he kept going. "There's so much it doesn't seem to end. But Iniasen said I shouldn't stop, so I won't. I won't stop, Iniasen." When Naruto started pulling on his chakra. On the outside, Naruto looked calm, almost statue-like. Itachi was trying to sense chakra from Naruto. Then a small flicker began showing itself as the grass around the child started to be pushed outward. "That's it, Naruto, you can do it." Then a large burst of chakra started pouring out of Naruto's small frame. The level just kept climbing up higher and higher. Damn, what the hell? How can he have so much already? The chakra got so high it became visible, looking as if Naruto was on fire with blue flames that kept getting larger. It was at this point that Itachi started to break out in a cooled sweat. How much more can he pull out?" he said out loud. What Itachi saw next amassed him. The chakra itself started to twist inward to Naruto's body, looked like a whirlpool. Then in a split second, all of it was pulled into the blonde hero's body like it was never there. Naruto opened his eyes looking tired. A smile spread across his face. "How did I do, Inisan?" "You did amassing, Naruto. I'm so proud to be your father," Itachi said without thinking, with a smile, and eyes closed, missing the fox-like smile on Naruto's face. "Good night, Dad." And with that, Naruto drifted to sleep. Itachi picked Naruto up after gathering their things. He headed home and put Naruto in his bed and packed things into trailing packs for what he had planned in the near future. As Itachi sat down, as there was a knock at the door. Now who could that be? Itachi said to himself as he opened the door. To his shock, it was his mother, who he had not seen since he moved out, because his father would not allow it. "Mother? I'm so happy to see you, but why are you here? I, though father wouldn't let anybody in the clan see me as clan head. Mikoto was a beautiful woman with long black hair like most Uchiha. Don't forget about Naruto's blonde hair, with onyx color eyes. She was wearing a blue mid-thigh skirt and a red tank top with a darker blue jacket that stopped just below her chest. Itachi, your asshole of a father cheated on me. I'm leveling his ass and taking Sasuke with me, she said with a raising voice. Okay, but you need to keep it down, mother. My son is trying to sleep, Itachi said with his monotone way of speaking. At first, she simply compiled, not thinking much of it, but soon what was said clicked in her mind. Son, what do you mean, son? Itachi, she spouted in a semi-quiet voice. After taking a seat on the couch, Itachi began to tell what happened in the last 2 days. They keep talking for an hour, going over almost everything. Who would have thought he would have the Sharingan, and at such a young age? So what are you going to do now, Itachi? I'm leaving to train Naruto tomorrow for 2 or 3 years. Until then, feel free to live here. I'm taking Naruto to train him for 2 or 3 years. Until then, feel free to live here. Mikoto just sat there doing her best impression of a fish. Are you sure you want this? Itachi nodded. Okay, I love you, Itachi. Take care of yourself and Naruto. She lovingly hugged her son and then punched him hard in the head, sending him to the floor. What was that for? Itachi whined as he rubbed his head. That's for making me a grandmother already. Now I feel old. She dropped her head in depression. Well, you sure as hell don't look like it, mother. I'm going to bed. I need to get up early. You can have my room. Thanks, son. I love you. Do you know any places I could rent out? Yes, I'll make a list before I leave to talk to Hokage-sama tomorrow. Could you watch Naruto when I'm gone? No problem. What kind of grandmother would I be if I couldn't do that? She said, smiling. After Itachi went to bed, Mikoto looked around the apartment and soon came across a sleeping Naruto covered in a blue confiter. She smiled at seeing the small boy and slowly went over to him. Sitting next to him, she covered the new Uchiha a little more. So you're my grandson, huh? Well, welcome to the family, Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha. Then she closed her eyes and took a deep, calming breath. Take care, one young on path. May you grow strong in both body and spirit. Grow strong, for you are Uchiha, the family of fire and strength. She opened her eyes and looked at Naruto. That's the prey of our family, Naruto. May you grow strong under Itachi's training. I fear that in the coming days that you won't have a choice but to be strong for yourself and this family. The next day, with Itachi. Itachi woke bright and early for his talk with the third Hokage. Itachi had been thinking of the training Naruto would need. As he neared the Hokage tower, he noticed some Umbu watching him, more than normal for someone going to tower. After entering the tower, he went straight to the Hokage's office and knocked on the closed red door. Come in, said in voice of the Hokage in a leader-like fashion. Hokage-sama, I need to talk to you, Itachi said as he entered. Looking up from his desk, Sarutobi, he saw Itachi coming in. This brought a smile to the Hokage's face. The old Hokage of 55 years of age sat at his desk. His lightly tanned skin did not hide the aging lines on his face. His white, spiky, fading hairline showed. His brown eyes showed compassion and love for his village and his people. Yes, Itachi, what can I do for you? How is Naruto-kun? Said the aged Hokage, radiating grandfatherly love when speaking of Naruto. Well, I came to speak to you about Naruto and is very happy and doing well. With a simple nod from the Hokage, Itachi continued on. Well, I'm going to take Naruto outside of the village for training tonight and would like your help on some things. Of course, Itachi, what do you need? I need permission to train Naruto out of the country, a list of possible training grounds. I will give the list you asked for, but I want mouthy reports on him. I will also give him some of my personal jutsu to learn. Is that acceptable, Itachi? Of course, Hokage-sama, and I thank you for your help on this matter. Now, Itachi, I need to talk to you about something of the utmost importance. Itachi's face got hard at full tension. It has come to the worst possible conclusion, Itachi. They are going to rebel. They will try to attack soon and kill everyone in their quest to power. And we both know who's behind that one. So father will lead them to war against the village after all. Itachi balled his fist until his knuckle turned white. Those power-hungry morons. What the hell are they thinking? Itachi said as he started to cry. That means that it's my family or the whole village. God damn it. He started to cry harder. He knew his family was going to be killed off on the Hokage's order. But he knew if he was in charge, he would order it as well. I'm so sorry, Itachi. I tried to stop this, but your father wouldn't hear of it. The order was already given. Stopping himself from crying and drying his tears, looked at his Hokage. Who's going to do it? Your old friend Shinjo Uchiha will be the one to do it. But there is good news, Itachi. Those made Itachi look at the old Kage. He is to only kill the ones involved with the rebellion. That's good, said a relive Itachi. It's still over 70% of the clan, but at least some will live. Is mother and my brother on that list as well? Yes, but neither will be able to take the position of clan head. Then who will lead the clan, Hokage-sama? When you return to the village, you will be clan head Itachi, then Naruto after you. That had been the biggest shock Itachi had that day. But why me? Hokage-sama, there has to be someone other than me. You are the only choice because it's well known to those in power that you and your father would often fight over the rebellion, as well the whole village. That makes you ideal to rebuild face with the villagers after this. You are also known to be the most powerful Sharingan user that will make those of the Uchiha clan unite under you. Also, you will change the teaching of your clan as you see fit and teach them the right way. Itachi lowered his head to think it over. Looking every possible detail over, he knew the leader of his home was right. He was the best and only chose on the matter. So he just nodded his head in understanding to the Hokage. Come, Itachi, we need to get your things together for your and Naruto's training trip. Meanwhile, after Naruto got up, he found Mikoto cooking breakfast in the kitchen and freaked out. Soon Mikoto calmed him down and told him that she was his grandmother. Then they talked about the Uchiha clan and being a ninja and her personal. Soon they went to park to play for 2 hours of fun-filled laughter. Now they're eating ice cream, enjoying the afternoon of fun and laughter. Thank you for such a great day. I had so much fun, said the young blonde Uchiha. You're very welcome, Naruto. I had fun, said Mikoto with a small smile. I can't wait to learn how to be a ninja from Dad. I'm going to be super strong and smart, Naruto said with a big grin over his face. Mikoto laughed at his energy and couldn't help but feel happy. I'm sure you will, Naruto, but don't ever lose who you are. I won't, because now I don't have to hide myself. I have a family that loves me, and I'll protect them with my own 2 hands. A proud smile formed on her face. Keep that to heart, and there's no limit to what you can do, Naruto. You're going to change the clan for the better if you keep that up, Naruto. I just know it. Naruto, did you have fun today? Said a monotone voice from behind Naruto and Mikoto. As they turned, they see Itachi standing there with a smile on his face. In a split second, Naruto tackled him to the ground, hugging him. Dad, I had so much fun today. We went to the park and had ice cream and talked. It was great. I'm glad to hear that. Naruto, we're going to go on the training trip in a few minutes, so go get ready. After a few minutes, they got their stuff together and headed to the village gate. They both looked back at their home for a few seconds, both making silent vows to come back stronger. Then they headed out to find the first of the training grounds. Later that night, scrams were heard from the Uchiha clan compound. A few days later, at the first training ground, Naruto sat in an open grass field in his boxers. Itachi was giving Naruto the basic rundown of how to use chakra and jutsu. They were somewhere in fire country. Their camp sat up as a basic 2 tents, a pit for a fire, and all the things they would need. Okay, Naruto, I need you to stand up now, said Itachi from a standing position as he looked at Naruto. Naruto didn't hesitate, standing up as he did Itachi quickly throw 5 unraveling wraps into the air. His hands moved faster than Naruto's eyes could follow. When his finished, the wrappings stopped mid-fall and quickly went to Naruto, wrapping around his arms, legs, and chest. After they stopped, strange symbols appeared all over the wrappings, and in the middle of hands and feet showed the word gravity. As soon as that was finished, a crushing weight come all over young Naruto's body, making him fall onto the ground. Tunsen, why am I so heavy now? I feel like I'm being pulled down to the ground. That because I put a gravity seals on you for training. This is the first stage, that's double normal gravity. Naruto looked at him with bugged eyes. As he was about to say something about it, Itachi interrupted him. Naruto, if you can do this in training, then you will become very strong. A gentle look came over Naruto's face, then became one of determination. If it will make me strong, then I'll do it, and master my training. I'll become the strongest ninja in the world. He started to try to get up, but was having a hard time. I won't let this stop me. I will become strong. He got a foot under him. Starting pushing up, he put all his strength in to keep up, soon standing there in front of his father Itachi. Well said, Naruto. Now, we well are going on a 14-mile jog, then you well do 200 push-ups and set-ups. And then move on to chakra control and taijutsu. Naruto then face planted on the ground. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? Fine. I'm fine, he said as got off the ground a lot easier, this going unnoticed to him, but not Itachi. He is already getting used to it. It must be the QB healing his muscle, making them stronger in the presses. If this keeps put, I can increase his training tenfold. Okay, father, let's go, I'm ready. After that, Itachi jogged off on an easy pace, but Naruto had to try a lot harder to keep up. This is going to be a long 3 years, but I'll come back stronger thanks to father's training. Naruto, you're falling behind, move it, or I'll have you do 100 extra push-ups and set-ups. Then again, it could kill me too, Naruto thought as he sped up. After 14 painful miles, Naruto wasted no time and got straight to push-ups and set-ups. When he finished, his whole body throbbed in pain. Fire filled his veins, and his breaths were labored. After a short break, it was on to chakra control. Soon Naruto found himself surrounded by trees. Itachi reached up to a low branch and picked off a leaf from the tree. Okay, Naruto, this is the first step to gaining control over your huge amount of chakra you have, is keep this leaf to stick to your forehead, using nothing but your chakra. Father, how does keeping a leaf on my forehead help me become a ninja? Will it allow me to keep a sword to my head? Naruto asked as he imaged himself armed to the teeth and a short sword sticking to his head, fighting a horde of enemies ninja. Well, I suppose one could do that. Itachi's sweat dropped. But the point is to help you learn to control your chakra so you don't waste it trying to use jutsu. For you personally, it will be the hardest thing you learn how to do. Nodding his head and understanding, Naruto takes the leaf and puts it to his head and sticks for a second before it shots off like a bullet. Time and time again it kept happening, just a second longer with every untempt he does. After half hour, Naruto loses his temper, feeling as is going nowhere, and cusses like no tomorrow. Why can't I do this? Didn't I say it was going to be hard for you, Naruto? Yes, I don't get why it's so hard to do this. It's because you have so much chakra and zero experience using it correctly. Those two things together are what make your control so bad. The adoptive father said in full lecture mode, then small gentle smile apries on his face. Believe it or not, Naruto, you are getting this very quickly. I know you're young yet, so you have a long way to go, but you'll get strong, Naruto. And the first step is getting this down. I believe in you. The look of shock covered Naruto's face, then a confident took over with a steeled gaze. Getting back into the grinder, Naruto put the leaf to his forehead. Itachi took this moment to leave to go catch lunch. After an hour getting a few fish to cook, Itachi returns to something he didn't think he would see. Sitting still, Naruto sat with a leaf in the middle of his head and one per temple. Staying in one place, he watched Naruto continue for 20 minutes before Naruto opened his eyes with a yawn, but the leaf stayed in place. To be able to get this far in so short of time is far above what I expected at his age. Itachi thought. Come on, Naruto, it's time to eat. A short while later, Naruto was eating more than his fair share of the fish, meaning eating like he hasn't eaten in weeks. After eating lunch, they got into Naruto's studies, teaching everything he would need to know was the goal. This went on for several hours, showing this was not his strong point, and to end the day jumping into taijutsu. Their taijutsu practices consisted of the very bisect of the interceptor fist, stale taijutsu, going over it until it was perfect, and then some more to lock it into place. I'm so sore, Naruto said as they walked back to camp. The pain I feel has pain. Naruto faked cried. If you feel that way, then get over it. Itachi smiled, playing along with Naruto's antics. Pretending to be upset, Naruto says. Fine, be that way. One day I'll get strong enough to beat you in a fight, father. The last part he said completely serious and full with confidence. Itachi is filled with pride in his adoptive son and smiles as Naruto father. I hope you do one day, Naruto. Keep training like we have been, and you will. I'll keep training until I drop. Good now, then tomorrow, I will push your taijutsu farther with 2,000 punches and kicks per hand and leg. Naruto stops with the look of complete horror on his face. He knows his father was completely serious, and slowly a smile forms on Naruto's face. Fine, I will do this insane training and push further. I will become stronger, stronger than father. For the next 2 months, Naruto trained in this fashion, pushing him farther and farther. Sweat, blood, and tears were shed every day. Naruto wouldn't have much of arms or legs if he didn't heal by the next morning. At the end of the week, Itachi would go over what Naruto learned. Then it was time to move on and out of Fire County. During his time there, Naruto got every good at controlling his chakra. Itachi was impressed, so he taught Naruto Shadow Clone Jutsu, confident that with Naruto's revisers he could handle it. Itachi was surprised when Naruto performed the jutsu, thinking 1 or 2 at the max, when Naruto made 50 before becoming too exhausted. Itachi taught Naruto the secret of the Shadow Clone and allowed Naruto to increase his studies. "Father, where are we going now?" Naruto asked. "We're going to the Mist Village first, so you can water walking and water jutsu. Then the village hiding in the clouds for lighting, sand for wind, and lastly village hidden in the stone as our last stop for earth jutsu. And if you think this is some kind of vacation, then you're mistaken. But we could have some fun if you train hard." It was going to be a long and painful 3 years for our blonde hero. 3 years later at the village gate. It was early morning, the sun has not even started to show, and a thick fog hung in the air. 3 figures walked towards the village hidden in the leaves. All of them were dressed in dark blue rain cloaks with hoods covering their faces. 2 of them stood less than 6 feet in height, the other was just over 5 feet. They were stopped at the gate by 2 Chunin guards. "Halt! Why are you here?" said the Chunin, trying and falling at intimidating the traversers. "We are returning home from a training trip," said a man that then took off his hood. As it fell, it showed his black hair and onyx eyes. "Itachi-sama, I'm so glad you have returned," said an Uchiha guard walking up to them. "I have heard what happened. How is everyone?" "They are well. Your mother has been acting as clan head until your return and has done a fine job doing so," said the Uchiha as he bowed to his clan head and stood back up. "Will you and the young hare be returning to the compound after you see the Hokage?" "Yes, but it will be some time before we come back. We have a lot to talk about with Hokage-sama." "Very well, I will inform the clan as my shift is ending." With a quick nod, they entered the village. As they walked to the tower, Itachi took off his cloak, opening a scroll and sealing it away. He now wears a black long-sleeve shirt, umbu pants, and umbu shoes. His fishnet shirt was easy to see under his black one. They didn't stop as they just walked right into the Hokage office with a clam air around them. "Hello, Hokage-sama, we have returned. As you know, Naruto's training went far farther than we originally thought," said Itachi in his business-like, monotone voice. A smile appeared on the third's face. "So I heard, but I would like to see him for myself. So Naruto, why don't you come over and let me see you?" The shortest one came over to the Hokage and took off the cloak to see a more mature face with 3 whiskers birthmakers. His clothing had not changed much from 3 years ago, but his dark blue jacket was now black with blue flames with red tips at the bottom's trim. Note he has his sword sealed away. His blonde hair was a little longer, but had not changed. The air around Naruto seemed calmer than before, but has a warmer feel to it. "Hi Aji-sen, I missed you. I see you took care of the village. So when can I become an official ninja?" The old Kage couldn't help but laugh at his energy. Even with him being calmer, he was still full of energy. "After 2 years in the academy, I'm afraid. But it gives you a chance to make friends in your age group. Now Naruto, why don't you go have a day off and have fun? We don't need you here for the boring stuff." "Okay, see you later, Aji-san. By dad, I'm go train for a little while and then get some ramen." "Okay, but don't pig out, or I'll have to work it off of you," Itachi said with a smile that made Naruto as pale as a ghost, and Naruto quickly left out the nearest window. "Well, did you finish that little deal till we talk about Sarutobi?" said a gruff voice of the stranger, still wearing his rain cloak. "Yes, I did." The Hokage handed the stranger some papers and a head bended. "You Kisame Hashigaki are now a Jonin ninja of Konohagakure." As the Hokage said that, the man took off his hood, revealing a blue-skinned man with the appearance of a shark. With sharp-pointed teeth and gill-like marks on his cheek, it's hard not to think that. "Thanks, Sarua Hokage-sama," said the grinning shark man. "And thank you for helping Naruto with his training." The smiling Kage said with joy. Please, that little kid was fun as hell to train. He can take a beating and get back up like nothing. As he said that, he took out a scroll and unsealed a large sword in wrapping that was as long as he was tall. At this point, Itachi jumped in. So, Sarutobi-sama, have you given any thought of what you are going to with Naruto do when he leaves the academy? Yes, I have. When Naruto leave and reaches the age of 15, he will be put under the CRA. That got the other two to look right at him like he grew a second head. Why would he be put under that, Hokage-sama? Because Itachi, there's now only 6 Uchiha in the whole world now. You, Naruto, Sasuke your brother, Mikoto your mother, the Chunin you saw, and Shinjo who became a missing ninja. You are going to be put under this, but you're going to clan head, and is already your right to enact this as your right at this time. So it's a moot point. The old Kage take out his tobacco pipe and start smoking. After taking a few moments, he started talking again. Your mother is becoming too old, and I wouldn't put a woman under that anyway. Sasuke is your brother, but is feared that your father has had too much influence on him. So Naruto is the only chose now, and in truth the only one to begin with, as he was only adopted just before the relabeling ended and has the Sharingan. I see, but please don't force anyone onto him, asked the clan head. I won't have to until his 18th birthday. Now tell me everything that has happened in the last years. With Naruto. Naruto was on the other side of the village enjoying his day. Outside of some new stores and restraints, the village had not changed from 3 years ago. He so found himself in restraint part of the village as they were just starting their day. As his stomach started growling at him, he decided it was too early for ramen, so he went to the closest place to him, which was a barbecue place. As he entered, it looked fairly normal, hardwood floors and places to sit down conformably. What was cool about the place is that in the mid of the tables were grills to cook the food how you like. After eating, Naruto walked around some more, and soon came across a small group of men, 6 in all, that are little older than him, surrounding a blonde girl his age in an alleyway with B-cup bust, her hair up in a bun and a thick strand covering one side of her face, and baby blue eyes, in a purple top that shows her midsection and shorts that complemented her bottle butt, wrapping round her thighs and under her top, most likely hiding her true breast size. Come on, babe, join us for some fun, you'll like it, the leader of the men said. There's no reason to make it hard on yourself. Go fuck yourself. I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, the blonde girl said angrily at the men surrounding her. Well, you had your chance, bitch, now we do it the hard way. And to think I would have been so much gentler to you if you had just came like a good whore. As the group jumped to grab her, a black and yellow blur appeared, kicked them all upside of their heads in a spin kick. What the hell was that? The leader said as he held his head in pain, as did the other men there. Standing there in the circle of people was a kid no older than 11 with his arms at his side and an icy stare that looked through them like if the death himself was looking at them. The look in his eyes made them pause for a second before they became enraged. What the? How did he do that? I couldn't even see him move, the girl thought. The leader of group quickly got a cocky grin on his face as he saw it was just a kid and thought he simply got the drop on them. Okay, kid, if you get out of here now you won't get hurt. We just want the little blonde bitch behind you. Naruto narrowed his eyes and get into a loose stance. Fine, get him, boys. As soon as he gives the order, they charge to get the blonde boy, only they couldn't lay a hand on him. He moved too fast and blocked everything they sent his way, and worse, he never moved from where he was. Soon, with quick hard punches, disabled 4 of the 5 men attacking him. Naruto grabbed the last punch and pulled, bringing him closer for Naruto to uppercut him in his jaw with a sickening crack as his jaw shuddered apart. As the man fell unconscious, Naruto started walking forward to the leader, who was on the ground on his ass, shaking in fear at the boy who just took out his men without them touching him once. You want her for yourself, you can have her. Just leave me alone. He still kept coming at the rapist. You will pay for what you tried to do here today, you scum, Naruto said in a dark voice as the air around him seemed to become colder. The man tried to get up to run away, only Naruto to kick him in his side, forcing him to the ground. Then he grabbed him by his neck, holding him in the air, then slamming him into the wall of the alleyway. The look in this boy's blue eyes made him tear up in fear. Naruto then dropped the man for him to get a knee shoved into his stomach. The man started to dry hive to be kicked in the face. The man was on the ground, holding his face in pain of having his nose being broken. Then feel the back of his head being grabbed and shoved down into the pavement below, brings Sweet unconscious. The girl was wide-eyed at the boy who had saved her as he was tying up the group of rapists. Who was this guy? He beat them all without breaking a sweat. She was sniped out of her thinking when she heard a voice. I'm sorry, what did you say? In a caring voice with the softest eye that made her melt, he said, Are you okay, miss? YST, thank you for your help, she said as a full-body blush took over. She found him to be really cute with the whiskers marks. You're welcome, I'm just glad you're okay. I called for police to pick them up, he said with a bright fox-like smile. That smile made her body heat up. That G good W, what's your name if I may ask? My name is Naruto, what's yours, beautiful? She felt her heart skip a beat. My name is Naruto. How about I walk you home, His soft blue eyes made it impossible for her to say no. But why would she say no in the first place? That sounds nice. A cute smile came to her face that made Naruto blush. Okay, let's go then. Grappled his arm as they walked and hugged it close to her. The walk was nice, but it was to quit for So were you from Naruto? I don't think I have seen you around before. I was on a training trip for 3 years with my father. We just got back today. Naruto said, looking her straight in her eyes. Wow, that's so cool. I have to bug my dad in order to get any training. So does that mean you're going to be a ninja? She said with a smile. Welcome home, sweetie. Who's your friend? Said a much older woman who appeared to be 30 or so, waving at them from a flower store window. Is this where you live, asked Naruto. Yes, I do. Thank you for walking me home, Naruto. It was my honor to walk you home, I'll see you another day. With that, he left, leaving standing there dreamily until something hit her. Damn it, he never answered my question about him being a ninja. Screamed at the top of her lungs. Come in already. I'm coming, Mom, said a defeated blonde female ninja. A woman with soft, short, pale blonde hair looking like an older Huff, blowing some strand hair out of her face. What was keeping you so long, dear? She said as she went back to cooking lunch. I was talking to a boy who saved me from being the entertainment of 6 assholes. Oh my dear God, are you okay? Did they thouch you? I'm fine, Mom. As I said, this boy came out of nowhere and saved me. Over the course of several minutes, explained what had happened. Oh well, maybe you should invite him over so we can give him a proper thank you, said the blonde mother. With Naruto. Naruto walked until he got to the Hokage Tower to meet up with Itachi. As he came out of said tower, without saying anything, Naruto blended in with Itachi and Kisame. How was your day, Naruto? Do anything interesting? Itachi asked. Not really. At some food. Saved a blonde girl from some rapists. Naruto said in a nonchalant manner. Would have been easier if I was used to the new gravity seals you put on me. What are you at now anyway? Asked the shark-like man. 11 times normal gravity now. Dame kid, you don't take anything at a slow pace, do you? Kisame grow a shark-like grin. Did you coop a feel on her player? In an instant, Naruto was sporting a full-body blush. What are you saying, you perverted fish? Itachi and Kisame laughed at poor Naruto. Shut up. It's not funny. Naruto pleaded, not it only increased their laughter. Father, may I make a request of you? He said without a hint of humor. What is it, Naruto? Itachi said with a raised eyebrow. I wish to live outside of the compound for as long as I'm in the academy, and for you to not tell anyone who doesn't know that I'm your son. Itachi's eyes widened from shock for a moment. His eyes softened as he looked at his son's face. I will allow you to do this, but I must ask, why do you want this? I must gain the people's respect before I become clan head. A look of confidence made it seem that nothing could stop him. I will make people see me for who I am. I am Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha. Naruto said in his fox-like grin shown in full blast. Kisame's and Itachi's eyes widened as the wind blew, shifting Naruto golden hair, and his coat flapped around his body as the sun hit him. In a way, his body seemed to glow, making him look like a hero from a story. Very well, you have school tomorrow, don't be late. Itachi threw envelope-filled wish cash to Naruto as he started to walk away. Do well and make me proud, son. 5 hours later. Naruto ended up buying Itachi's old apartment before him, and Itachi left to go training. The paint was slightly faded, but overall looks the same. The living room had a new black leather couch with a black cafe table with a blue spiral in the middle. Bookshelves covered the walls, history, nonfiction, fiction, mythology, clans of the world, and theory volumes of Nin, Tai, Jin, and Chakra filled the shelves. The kitchen got the top-of-the-line stove, refrigerator, and dishwasher with silver chrome. Black garnet counter polished to a shine. New cookingware lined the counter from the refrigerator to the stove, but in a way it wasn't cluttered and plenty of room to make a meal. Clear red and blue glass dishes filled the cabinets. The refrigerator and pantry were stocked full of foods. Naruto took Itachi's old room, with a queen-size bed, covered in a light red sheets and dark blue conferred, on an oak bed frame, and 2 cherry nightstands makes it a nice sleeping area. A dark oak dresser 6 foot long and 3 tall sat across from the bed, with a 32-inch plasma screen TV on top. The last thing Naruto did was turn his old room into a study for ninjutsu, taijutsu, and jinjutsu scrolls. The room itself has a security seal on it to prevent anyone but himself from opening the door. An iron oak desk lay against the northern wall and bookshelves filled with scrolls from D to a rank of every element and many non-elements filled the room. "Well, that's a hard day's work done," Naruto said as he yawned. "What time is it?" asked the shirtless Naruto. "Man, it's 11 o'clock, already better get to bed." He put his arms over his head and stretched, showing his hard abs and pecs, but not bulky to get in the way that is only horned over years of training. After a hot shower and brushed teeth, he was ready for bed. Getting under his covers, Naruto thinks back on all the days he spent to get where he is now. To be this strong and how hard it was to get here. How many bones his broken and tears he shed, and what the future would hold. How would the people of Konoha treat him? Would they still see him as a monster? How good were the other kids of his generation? Were any of them going to be a challenge? These were just a few that flew across his mind as he drifted to sleep. Flashback. Beep, beep, beep. The alarm went off, strewing blonde hair within the red sheets. "Shut up, you stupid alarm clock," said a groggy Naruto, but it kept beeping. Wham! The clock busted into an unfixable miss on the nightstand and floor. Naruto pulled his fist back to his body. As he was about to fall back to sleep, a second muffled alarm started to make a noise. "Fine, I'm up," Naruto yelled at no one as he swung his legs over the side and opening the nightstand to find the devil's machine going off. "I hate your kind so much." Naruto cinder at it as he turned it off to replace the one he destroyed. Once the miss was cleaned up and a new back up in the nightstand from the closet. 5:30. Well, school starts at 8 o'clock, so I have time for my light training exercises. 200 laps around Konoha, 1,000 push-ups, and set up with a 250 pounds boulder on my back, Naruto said with a smile. On the other side of Konoha, Mike Guy felt a chilly go up his spine. Some young ninja is going through the power of youth. To keep up with him, I will do 2,000 speed push-ups per arm with a 500 lb boulder. With Naruto. An hour and 30 minutes later, Naruto was finished with his exercises and returned home. After a quick shower and breakfast, Naruto set out to start his first day of school. Naruto walked through the village with a slow stride, as if he owned the place and had nowhere to be. It didn't matter, Naruto would still be early. 20 minutes later, Naruto showed at the academy to see a mass of people outside of door that lead into the academe. As Naruto looked around at the young ninja hopefuls, he was reminded how he used to dream about becoming a powerful ninja and having his name go down in history without knowing what it was like to fight, just to survive and to protect. Flashback. No jutsu. Naruto, 9 years old now, was jumping from branch to tree branch as he and his father moved through the thick swamplands of Water Country, home of the Mist Village, far away from the war going on in the Mist Village. Today was a big day for Naruto. He would finally get to go on a mission with his father. They weren't really mission, more like bounty hunting. Itachi would come across a village and hear about bandits attacking the town in order to get as much money as possible during the bloodline war going on in the Mist Village, making outlying villages easy prey for them, as they had no one to call for help. Needless to say, once Itachi was on the mission, they didn't last long. The pay was not much, but was still plenty for such a war-torn country. After a year of training, here Naruto had grown dramatically during his time with his father. With his teachings and the secret of the Shadow Clone Jutsu, made learning anything easy for the blonde, mastering mini jutsu in a day. But Naruto also used this method in his studies, while having only one copy of a book. Naruto with his clones were reading over 20 different subjects at the same time. His control over his chakra was almost perfect and chakra level was of a high jonin. Naruto was able to learn every fire jutsu Itachi knew, which was every fire jutsu in the Uchiha vault and some he made, and from D to mid-B rank water jutsu that they could get their hands on. His taijutsu could still use some work, but that was not Itachi's area of expertise. However, Naruto's Jinjutsu exploded in growth from no talent whatsoever to being near Itachi's equal in the area. And that was Itachi's area of expertise, the one thing Itachi used in battle more than anything. Though however good Naruto was, he still preferred ninjutsu and taijutsu over Jinjutsu, but never disregarded its usefulness. In fact, Naruto would often start a fight and end it with Jinjutsu. Itachi couldn't have been prouder of his son's growth. Naruto's looks only changed a little as he let his hair grow so he could put it into a messy but straight ponytail, as the rest was still a spiky golden mass. He still wore the very same outfit that he left his village in, only now his dark blue jacket was buckled up to help protect him from the damp weather that this land was known for. Swamp, swamp, tree, rock, tree, swamp. Naruto thought out of boredom as he and his father traveled to a bandit camp a few miles out of town. Lesson up, Naruto, we're getting near our objective. Once we reach there, you are to scout out the camp before you destroy it. You are doing this on your own, as you should be more than skilled enough to handle this. Itachi said as a leader ninja than a father. I understand, father, I will not mess up and complete the task at hand. Naruto said as a soldier in a monotone voice, just as his father taught him to. Good, now here we go, the mission is now underway. After Itachi said his piece, both of them disappeared. Naruto hid in the shadow of a weeping willow as he watched the bandits go through their daily routine of going through the small deserted town they took as their own, which to Naruto was boring, just plain boring. It was like watching people from a normal town do nothing. He didn't expect much, but not this. No one was even standing guard around the camp. Maybe they got lazy because of the war. I mean, it's not like they can expect any ninja to come after them. Naruto thought with a sweat drop. Then something happened that grabbed Naruto's undivided attention. A young boy, who looked no older than 5, was brought into the camp, kicking and screaming. He was a small little boy with white hair and red eyes. His skin was lightly tanned from hours out in the sun, most likely from working through the day. He was wearing a bright blue shirt with green overalls and brown shoes. His arms were tied behind his back to prevent him from escaping. The man who had been holding the kid was a tall, muscular man that looked like he used to be a lumberjack with a big bushy beard. He had a black rain jacket on that was zipped up, with gray cargo pants and black work boots. But what stood out was the claymore on his back. The blade was a little shorter than himself and was made of gray iron. Okay, you lot, put this kid in one of the rooms. He is now under our care, said the lumberjack-looking man. No one said anything and just did as told. That confused Naruto a little bit. Why would he say, under our care? Bandits don't care how they treat people? But the kid may complicit things. From our intel, they haven't really done anything that bad. They have yet to kill and haven't raped anyone. They have kidnapped people, but they were always returned in no worse condition than before they were taken. They probably got desperate from the lack of jobs and started robbing people. Naruto thought sadly. After a couple of hours, the sun started to set, and it was time to make his move. Creeping his way into the camp, looked for the room where they put the kid. As he traveled through the small encamped town, he saw many of the bandits rebuilding the houses, making them suitable for living in. Naruto quirked his eyebrows at seeing them do this, but moved on. As he went through the village, he saw bandits doing other odd things, from painting houses to planting flower beds around the houses. Coming up to a small house with a warm glow peering out of the window just above his head, Naruto's has had enough of not knowing what's going on through this village. Peeked into the window. What he saw next shocked him to his core. Dozens of kids and young to old women through the window. All of them were fully clothed and happy. From the smile on their faces, happy with the right word. Then the lumberjack from earlier walked into the room, and the room got quiet for a second before the kids busted into cheers and the women laughed at the kids. All of a sudden, a little girl ran up to the man and jumped, only to be caught and spun around. She was wearing a red dress and had black hair tied into pigtails. Naruto listened closer to what was being said and said, "Daddy, did you have an okay trip?" The chuckled, "Yes, it went well, sweetheart, thank you for asking. I saved a kid today from his oppressed lifestyle." "Really, what happened?" she asked in innocence. Well, he was working ungodly hours for an adult and paid next to nothing for it. But that was the only job he could get, so he worked it. I found him, and when I tried to talk to him about his bloodline, he panicked and tried to run, but I was able to get him, but the townspeople showed up and thought I was going to kill him. The man said as the whole rooms listened to him tell the story. What happened next, father? Well, they were every determined to capture, so I ran with him in tow out of the town and lead them to the swamps and lost them. He said with a smile as the children had stars in their eyes. Naruto left after the story came to an end and looked around for the kid. He took to see if what he said had any merit. He found the white-haired boy quickly and hinged into an unassuming child. Naruto started running up to him in a childlike fashion. Hi, are you the boy that was brought here? The boy turned around to see a small boy in a brown shirt and shorts looking at him with big brown eyes. Yes, I am. Why do you ask? Wow, that's cool. So what's your story, mister? Well, I was born with a bloodline limit like you, I imagine. My parents was killed a year ago, and I have had the hunters after me ever since. Then that big guy found me and brought me here. At first I thought he was another thug looking for an easy payday. The odd-haired boy smiled. Then I come to find out that he brought me to a place filled with bloodline families and that I'm safe here. So that's what is happening around here. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Something is going on and I don't like it. All of a sudden a house exploded, tore through the ground. Shrapnel flew in the air, hitting the works, embedding deep into their flesh with a spray of blood, as their bodies were tossed like rag dolls by the force of the explosion. The smell of scorched skin filled the air as some bodies were impaled by large chunks of wood. Out from the smoking wreckage of the house climbed out 6 men, all wearing masks, each different from each other. The only one that stood out clothing-wise was the lead in an ocean blue tank top and gray sweatpants with black shoes. His hair short and brown. It looked like he just got out of bed. Hump, we only got a few of them. Sham, I was hoping to get at least a dozen. The man said with sick joy displayed in his voice. Breaking the illusion, Naruto yelled. What the hell do you think you're doing? Lazily turning his head, the man got a good look at Naruto. Oh, it's the mercenary we hired to find this little hideout. Reaching behind his back, Naruto got into a protective stance. My, a jumpy one, aren't we? He said with a small chuckle, and his men following in his humor. Pulling his arm from behind his back, he held up a scroll. Here is your bounty. You earned it, child. He tossed the scroll in the air. Catching the scroll, Naruto just looked at it. After what seemed like forever, Naruto put the scroll inside his coat and looked at the man in his eyes. Naruto's eyes looked as cold as a pool of ice as he asked, What are you going to do with them? What do you mean? We're going to kill them, of course. He said with his head tilted to the side in confusing and a tone of voice like it was the most known thing in the world. Naruto's face took on a look of horror. What? How could you do that? We can because we can. We'll kill them because it's our job as hunter ninja. The man's voice went from passive to a sickening voice of joy and pleasure. And we'll kill them because it's fun. They're nothing but freaks of nature and don't get to live. Ecstasy filled his voice as stopped talking. Then a large fountain of water shot out from right side of them, taking 2 of the men, screaming in pain, out of picture. They were dead if their skeletons showing through their muscle and flesh says anything. Walking out from behind the house was the lumberjack with his clamor resting in his hand as it leaned on his shoulder. Well, what do we have here, boil release? Well, I haven't seen that in a while. The hunter turned to face the man who had killed 2 of his subordinates. Well, this is a surprise. Nice to see you again, Dargan. It will be once I remove your head from your shoulders. The newly named Dargan said in a calm voice. The hunter removed his mask to show purple eyes and black lipstick and eyeliner. Charming as ever. But can you put your life where your mouth is? We'll see, won't we? Don't you boys move, this one is my fight. Now that I think about it, why don't you move back some? You wouldn't want to get caught in the middle, would you? In response, the last of the men scattered. They stood their ground staring at each other, trying to intimidate the other. Then they sprang into action. Dragon jumped and swung his sword at the hunter only for him to dive to side and throw a couple of shuriken just to come up empty-handed when Dargan pulled his sword out of the ground to use as a shield. Using Dargan's shield as a blind, the mist hunter snuck around with kunai in hand and jabbed it into Dargan's kidney, only for it to turn into water, showing the usefulness of water clones. Dargan puffed into existence behind the hunter, kicking his back with a heavy blow that sent him flying. Not wasting a step, Dargan grabbed his sword, ripping it from the ground. Jumping into the air, Dargan threw his claymore at the hunter ninja like a javelin. To his surprise, the Nin turned and grabbed the handle mid-flight, turning around from the momentum to impale him through the stomach. Blood spilled from Dargan's body, going all over the ground and the hunter Nin's arm. With an insane grin on his face, the purple-eyed man shoved the sword up in the air, driving it deeper into the poor man's body and out the other side. Then turned the blade downward into the ground, nailing the lumberjack of a man to the spot. "I have to say that was fun, thanks for that," he said, licking Dargan's blood off his arm, then stopped and looked at his victim. "Oh, I'm sorry, did you want some?" Leaning in closer with a smirk on his face. Dargan's hand shot up, grabbing the man's neck and squeezed with a vice grip with all his might. The Nin thrashed around trying to get free to no anvil, so out of desperation, he took out a kunai and stabbed the breaded man's wrist, getting his freedom. "You bastard, I'll kill you." Just as the hunter for the mist was about to give the last blow, he sees something yellow and blue out of the corner of his eye. Acting out of reflex, he put his arms for defense, but it was for nothing, as from the blow itself was more than his quick defense could handle and went flying into an empty house. He busted through the wall like if it was made of paper, and with a dust cloud and splinters went up. Naruto looked down at the would-be hero and gave a small smile. "Sorry about to barge in on your fight, but I can't let you die." Naruto looked over at the mist Nin, who was pulling himself out of the chunks of wood. "Don't worry, old man, I'll take it from here, you just worry about yourself," Naruto said with an impassive look and ice-cold blue eyes as he stared at the enemies. When the hunter Nin got out, he was seeing red. First the freak tries to strangle me to death, and now this. This brat has the balls to challenge me. Getting up and pointing at our blonde hero. "Get him, I want that blonde dead. The one to do it well, get all the money on him." Without a single word, the three henchmen Nin attacked, one with twin scythes, another with a machete, and the last had a long sword. Quickly drawing his sword, Naruto met them head-on, parrying and blocking their strikes. No matter how hard they pressed, they couldn't get past Naruto's defense, until as one swung a slash with his long sword to be blocked that the one with the scythes got him in his spine. Then a puff of smoke revealed it was a piece of lumber. The two men's eyes widened as a blade slid in between the ribs of scythe guy, with blood spewing from the wound, as long sword-wielded man head was separated from his shoulders with a large spray of blood. When the two bodies hit the ground, Naruto found two shuriken lugged in his throat. As the hunter Nin was about to do his happy dance, they both dissolved into water, as if felt a lot of pain in the back of his head before he was airborne. He flipped in the air before following the pattern on the ground, skipping like a rock on the water. Dargan kept watching, couldn't believe his eyes. A child had not only killed without filching, and doing so without breaking a sweat. Naruto stood there waiting for one of the two to make his move. Then both broke into action. The makeup-wearing Nin worked his way through hand sign, as the other threw a hand full of shuriken at Naruto as he ran forward. The blonde jumped over the flying stars of death, had made the tiger sign to his lips, and used fire style, grand fireball jutsu. A giant fireball, easily 3 times the man's size, came rushing at him with no time to dodge. He was burned to death, leaving nothing but ash. Just then, the leader of the now deceased Mist Ninja finished the last hand sign. Illusion Art Shark Hunting Ground. The ground around Naruto became flooded quickly, overtaking area. Naruto opened his eyes to see he was surrounded by 5 giant great white sharks circulating around him. On the outside, the hunter ninja smirked, seeing his jinjutsu worked as Naruto's head fall down like a drunk. Slowly walking over to the boy, he pulled out his last kunai to stop in front of the blonde's body. "Well, I have to say, kid, you would have made one hell of a mist ninja. If you only would have picked the right-sided." Without delay, he plugged the knife handle deep into the blonde hair, and blood came out of the wound. As Naruto's body started to fall, it slowed down to the point it just hung there in the air. Even the droplets were frozen in time. The blood vanished in the air soon after Naruto's body busted into a flock of crows. A thin line appeared on the man's face as the pain flashed and blood trickled down his cheek. "Did you really think you would get me with a sad jinjutsu like that?" whispered Naruto in his ear in a monotone voice. He found himself surrounded by 4 blondes, all with an impassive face and cold blue eyes staring at him, jumping in a twist as he threw 4 shuriken dead center of their chest. Only they stopped midair and broke apart into crows as well. Now 8 stood around him, all with the same look, and another cut appeared on his face. Panicking, he unsealed a short sword, tried to cut a path through them, only to get 16, and another shallow cut, this time on his arm. This went on for over an hour of fear and slicing through the blondes, only for more to appear and for him to get another cut. Soon a sea of blondes kids stood waiting, watching, and taunting the man with their mere presence. Falling to his knees, the hunter ninja couldn't take the pain anymore. Small, shallow cuts were all over his body, his skin stained with his blood. What are you? The purple-eyed man asked in a pained voice. I'm a son to a bloodline clan that I didn't use to defeat you, Naruto said as the man passed out from the pain. Breaking the Jinjutsu, the sea of clones faded into nothingness, as did the cuts on the man's body. What just happened? The hunter ninja called out a jutsu th. Then 3 seconds later he on the ground passed out? Asked Dargan, still in pain and nailed to the ground. Simple. He wanted to test Jinjutsu and lost. Naruto turned to the impaled man and smiled the biggest fox smile. Now let's get you fixed up. After an hour over, get Dargan fixed up and the bombardment of thank you from every person in the village, Itachi decided to revile himself. Naruto report what happened. After telling his father the mission from start to finish, Itachi's face showed a look disappointment. So not only did you stay far after the mission was done, you stayed and got involved in something that has nothing to do with us. Am I to understand that right, Naruto? Yes, father, and I'm not going to regret doing what I did. I saved this people because it was the right thing to do, Naruto said with a heated passion. And if I was to order you to kill each and every one of these people, starting with the kids, Itachi said in a dangerous warning tone, I wouldn't do that, and I would even fight you to protect them. Naruto screamed at his father on the verge of tears. The thought of killing the one person who loved and took care of him all this time. Then Naruto felt something on top of his head, slowly rubbing it. Looking up to see Itachi's hand patting his head. I'm so proud of you, son. Doing what's right no matter the cost. Even going against me to do it. Itachi had on his largest smile. Happiness and pride in his son shone through. That's my son Naruto. End of flashback, Jutsu. Naruto was broken from his memory as the instructors opened the doors to allow the students in the building. They shuffled in to learn how to kill the fellow man. Well, they didn't think of it that way, but whatever. Time to see who is in my class. Naruto started his new school year with a strong step. Flashback. As Naruto walked the halls, he memorized the layout of the building for future use. Then he came to his distinction. So this is it, pulling out a piece of paper from his pants pocket. Yup, this is it, room 102 with Irika. Putting chakra into his ears to increase his hearing, he could hear the students making idle chatting as they waited for their teacher. Inside the class, the room was filled with students learning to become ninja, talking to their friends in small groups. A tan man walked into the room with a scar going across his nose. He had brown hair pulled into a spiky ponytail. He wore green military vest, showing his rack of chunin over his blue long-sleeved shirt. He leased in on the students' banter one group at a time to see if they knew anything about the new student joining their class. So far, nothing more than the everyday stuff. That is until he got to Ino Yamanaka with her hair in a ponytail today, as to the norm. She was talking to a group of girls with her well-known rival Sakura Haruno. Sakura was a little shorter than Ino with long pink hair and a beautiful shade of green eyes. She wore a red battle dress with black shorts underneath. Man, I was so scared. There were 6 guys surrounding wanting me to do things with them. I thought I was going to get gang raped. So what happened then, Ino? One of the girls asked. Well, just when they were about to pounce, a guy around our age came out of nowhere and kicked them all away like they were nothing. I didn't even see him until he stopped moving. Wow, he must be really fast then. Is he a ninja? Another asked. Not officially, he was being trained outside of the village for 3 years, but come back for graduation next year. Ino said. What does he look like? Asked Sakura this time. He's a little taller than me with blonde hair and has bright blue eyes. But what stuck out the most was the whiskers makers on his cheek. She said with a finger on her chin as she recalled the boy's looks. What whiskers? Did he draw thee on? The pink-haired girl asked. I don't think so, she said as she shakes her head. They seemed more like birthmarks. I wonder if he's from a clan. That would make sense. I mean, look at the Inuzuka clan with the canine teeth, or Hyuga with their eyes. A random girl said. What is his name, Ino? Sakura asked with a raised eyebrow. I don't remember, the whole thing happened so fast. Ino sank into her arms and pouted. Irakin knew that was all the information he was going to get out of his students. All right, clam down, everyone, I have important information for you all. The students went dead silence at this. Okay, that was fast. Maybe we should get new students more often. Irika's sweat dropped. Anyways, we have a new student joining us today. Please show respect and good manners. This is his first time ever stepping foot into a classroom, and we don't want to leave a bad inspiration. Naruto took this as his time to knock on the door. Oh, that must be him now. Every eye in the room shifted to the door. Please come in and introduce yourself to your classmates. After he said, the door slowly opened and a blonde-haired boy walked in. Eyes bulged at seeing what he was wearing. Naruto wore a black male tank top with a red Uzumaki spiral that showed his very toned muscle that wasn't too bulky as to get in the way. It was something he gained in his years of training. The shirt was over a steel fishnet shirt to help his overall protection. His black cargo pants had a sliver chain buckled to the first hoop of his pants to the third. The black ninja sandals he wore had his pants tucked into it and wrapped around his ankles in white bandages. He didn't want his jacket as it may let now to who he was. His blonde hair was wild and untamed in the front, expect two strained bangs framing his face perfectly. His whisker marks gave him a feral look that made many girls blush. His brilliant blue eyes were soft and warm, but had a look that demanded respect, adding to the blush of the girls already had. Hello, my name is Naruto, and I'll be in your class until we graduate. He said with a foxy smile and wave showing his bandaged hand. Sakura saw his hand with her curiosity get the better of her, asked, why is your hand bandaged? Did you hurt it or something? I really don't like tell people about it if I don't know them well. Anyways, I hope we can get along. Naruto said with a large grin. So what were you doing all this time? An unimportant boy asked. Naruto closed his eyes as if thinking about how to answer. Slowly opening his eyes, Naruto's mouth pulled upward into a confident smirk. I have been training to be a strong ninja to protect the people who matters more to me than my own life. Everyone was so quit, a pin dropping could be heard from down the hall. What is this, really the QB brat? Irika thought, eyes as large as dinner plates. A small smile came to his face as Irika closed his eyes. Maybe I was wrong after all. He has a good spirit and strong heart. This is the boy who saved me / Ino, were the thought of Ino and Sakura, both with small blushes. All right then, Naruto, you may choose any open set for the day. I'll assign you a permanent set tomorrow. Oh, and I'll be asking you a lot of questions today to see how far you are in your studies. Naruto just nodded his head as he started walking up the rows trying to find a set when a flash of blonde caught his eye. With a quick double take, Naruto stopped mid-stride, blue eyes meeting together. With a quick turn, Naruto looked at the platinum blonde girl. I know you. Flexing the muscle in his legs, Naruto gave what looked like a weak hop that shouldn't even get an inch off the ground, only to appear a foot higher than the desk and onto it. In front of Ino in a crouching position, their faces only inches away from each other. You're Ino, right? How are you doing? Sporting a deep scarlet face blush, that would be challenge to even Hinata. Hi, I'm fine, thank you. That's good, make sure you take care of yourself, okay, Ino-chan. A fox-like grin spread across his face. After getting a nod from Ino, Naruto simply walked off the desk to the back of the room and grabbed an empty set at a desk by himself. Irika started his lesson for the day as soon as Naruto's ass hit the chair. Over 3 hours of mind-numbing lectures and answering questions by Naruto later, it was time for lunch, much to Naruto's happiness. As the students started to try to get through the door, Naruto just opened a window next to his desk and jumped out of it into the courtyard, much to his teacher's displeasure. He walked around the small training ground of the academy to find a large tree in a small meadow, its leaves shadow from the hot afternoon sun, perfect for taking a nap. As Naruto lays down under the shifting leaves with a light and soft breeze passing through, the sky above was clear and seemed the brightest blue the sky could ever give. Such a nice day, I don't get many days like this. The blonde Uchiha thought. I wonder what Q-chan is doing. Oh, it's nice to know you think about me, Naruto-kun. Makes a girl want to blush. The QB said sarcastically in Naruto's mind. Q-chan? Hey, you're talking to me again. Naruto couldn't stop the small smile on his face. It turned into a frown as he asked, Are you still mad at me? It's been over 2 weeks. I don't care. What you did was stupid. I'm sorry, I didn't think it would turn out like that. A foxy grin spread across Naruto's face. If you forgave me, I'll do that special thing you like so much later tonight. Naruto could feel the blush coming from the QB. That's me, Naruto-kun. You can't use that against me. So you don't want it? Naruto teased, knowing it would drive her mad. Naruto, you're so mean. You can't do this to me. The fox demon said in the cutie's way she could. Well, I guess since you don't want it, or forgive me, I'll just go and find something to do tonight. If I forgive you, will you really do it for me? She said shyly. Naruto smirked in victory. Yes, I will. If you forgive me now, I might throw in something a little extra. Okay, I forgive you, Naruto-kun. Naruto could feel the heat coming from his vixen in waves. You better have not said that just to get out of trouble, Naruto, or I'll be 3 times as mad. I wouldn't think about it, Q-chan, said a now slightly nervous Naruto. Hey, your name's Naruto, right? Said a lazy-sounding voice from behind. Get this right, and you get a cookie. Yes, it is, and you are. Naruto said as he turned to see a boy around his age with a bored expression on his face. He looked to be a little shorter than himself, his hair pulled back into a short, spiky pineapple-like tail. His brown eyes looked calculating as he stared at Naruto. He is wearing a light gray jacket with a binge outline and fishnet undershirt, dark brown pants with bandage wrapped around his right leg with his shrunken pouch over top of it, and navy blue sandals. Shikamaru Nara, nice to meet you, he said, unmoving and motived. Hey Shika, so this is where you took off to? Should have known it's the shadiest place at the academy. Said a F.A., death glare from the boy, plump young man in a dark green waist-length coat with a tan shirt and brown shorts. Bandages wrapped around his legs and arms showed. Red swirls present on his cheeks. And he was eating a large bag of chips. That's Choji Akimichi. I'm sure is happy to meet you as well, muttered the bored Nara as the Akimichi nodded. Nice to meet you both, Naruto said with a smile. Can we set with you? Asked Choji. Sure, I don't see why not, it's not like I own it. Naruto shrugged, giving his response. Taking a set, the 3 sat in silence, enjoying the afternoon sun. The peace was a nice change for the blonde. All the fighting and blood had been all his known for 3 years. This place was peaceful and so calming. Naruto's eyes started to close slowly, drifting to sleep. I may like it here after all. He thought as sleep overcame him. 3 months later. School for him was slow. Everything Iriko was teaching was just review for our hero. Naruto became the top student, getting A's on everything they did. Slowly, a fan club formed for the blonde. Although small, they made their self-known. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Choji became friends over the days. Came to find out Naruto and Shikamaru are equal in shogi. Well, at least Naruto thought so. Shikamaru was sure the blonde was holding back. As it stood, the score was Naruto, 3 wins, Shikamaru, 3 wins, and 250 ties. Ino has been getting closer to Naruto to be on friendly terms, but not really friends, as she's still a Sasuke fangirl with no real feeling for her fellow blonde. Ha, man, is she in denial. Man, Naruto, you need to stop holding back, said the annoyed Nara. Jesse Shika, I keep telling you I'm not, said a grumpy Naruto. Why won't you believe I'm taxed as it is? Because you're not even looking at the fucking board and still tied with me. The almost always clam-gifted young man shouted, causing everyone in the schoolyard to look at them. Naruto pulled down his book that his face was in until now to look at his friend with a quirked eyebrow. Looking down at the bored Naruto's face took a look of amazement. I thought we stopped playing some time ago. Shikamaru's eyebrow twitched as a tick mark appeared on his head. He was playing me to a standstill without knowing he was playing the game. What the hell is with this guy? Naruto looked at the board for a second before moving a piece. Checkmate, was all he said before going back to book. Looking over the board, looking for any way out, but couldn't find any. Damn it, the shadow user said, then laid down, closing his eyes. Hey Shikamaru, grunt from said boy, do you think you'll ever really beat Naruto? Asked our hefty friend. If Naruto was to try, I don't think I would even stand a chance. Mama, you're thinking too highly of my ability, Shika, and underestimating yourself. said the bored blonde. In any case, we better get to class, guys, said the Akimichi as he opened a bag of chips. As they took off to class, a pair of onyx eyes looked through the bushes. Standing up, we see a boy with dark hair in the shape of a duck's ass come out. He was wearing a dark blue shirt with a high collar and tan shorts with white armbands. His shirt had the Uchiha fan on the back, showing him to be Sasuke Uchiha, the second highest student in the academy and class heartthrob, with Naruto only second by a few girls. How strong are you really, Naruto? The boy thought to himself. And who in the world are you? After the class got assembled, most of the class talked to each other except Sasuke, who was trying to find out who Naruto was, Shikamaru, who slept with Choji eating beside him, and Naruto, who had his legs up on his disc thinking about a new jutsu he wanted to try out. Okay, class, clam down, we got important stuff to go over. The class seemed to get even louder, pissing Iriko off. Shut the hell up, you brats. He yelled at the top of his voice with his famous demon enlarged head jutsu. As I was saying, in a few months, we'll have full contact sparing next month, as to get back into the grove of fight has it's put off for half a year in order to help perfect your styles of fighting on your own. This got the student exited to prove themselves and to see what the new blonde kid could really do. Well, that all on that matter. Now we'll be going over the theory of Nin, Jin, and Taijutsu for the rest of today, followed by a test on what we learned about politics outside of the village. 1 month later, on the sparring ground, Naruto watched as many of the no-name students fought. He could say for academy students they were good and had potential, but would get splattered on any field mission above C-ranked. But that's what Jonin senseis are for. He couldn't get a good read off of Shikamaru and Choji because they got paired and both quit, not wanting to fight their friend. But Naruto knew that Shika would be able to think his way out of most problems, and if Choji was on his team, it'd be even easier due to the Akimichi fighting style. Ino and Sakura were above the other students, but would die like them if they didn't have good backup. A boy in a tan high collar coat with spiky brown hair and black shads fight poorly. However, if Naruto was right, he was an Aburame, so without the use of his chakra eating bugs, his style was pointless to begin with. The fertile Inuzuka in a gray jacket with fur lining, he had enlarged K9 teeth with red fang marks on his cheeks. His dog Akamaru was a white half-wolf pup with spots on his ears that stood off to the side. He was properly one of the best taijutsu user he had seen so far, most likely because his family fighting mostly with fits to begin with. Hinata Hyuga, there was something that caught his eye. The girl was beautiful in her own right. Her perfectly heart-shaped face and lavender hair was a winning combo on their own. Her eyes didn't seem to have a pupil if you didn't look close enough. Her larger baggy coat made it hard to tell her cup size, he put it low to mid-Ds. Anyways, forgetting the pervert and on to her fighting style, thought the blushing blonde. Hey, what did you think at me? You heard me, you pervert, arrow rider. Shut up, or I'll turn this in a boy-on-boy story with you and Sasuke as lovers. I'll be good, thought a defeated blonde. The girl was far more skilled than she let on. Is she misleading people, or is it because of low self-esteem? Seeing the girl's sad look on her face, he believed the second thought was the correct one. Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha. Irika yelled, snapping Naruto out of his thoughts. As the two warriors made their way to ring, hushed whispers rang, thought out the ninja and training. In the audiences, who do you think will win? My money is on Sasuke, he is the strongest out of our class, said one nameless student to another said student. I think the new kid will win as strong as Sasuke, as we don't know how strong this Naruto guy is. You're crazy, no can beat Sasuke-kun, says a fangirl with several other nodding in agreement with her. Don't count him out, yet we know next to nothing about him. He's a wild card in this whole deck. The gifted Nara said. Shut up, Shikamaru, you're just a lazy bum, so no one cares what you say. A devoted fangirl said with passion. That doesn't change the fact that Shikamaru right. He's a wild card. Anything could happen with this fight, thought a pale boy with black hair, an eye, and a black long-sleeved shirt with the right arm cut off. He wearing black pants and sandals with bandages wrapped around his left leg. He is known as Saiyan Agent of Danzo. With the fighters. Once the young ninja got into the arena, they stared into each other's eye in a battle of wills. Well, at least he knows the importance of controlling his enemy mentally. An arrogant smirk spread across Sasuke's face as he said, just give up now and save yourself from looking like the baka you are. Or not? Naruto thought with a sweat drop. Tempting, but I'll pass. See how you won't even land a hit on me. Sasuke got pissed instantly. All right, you two get ready. Sasuke shifted into Interceptor Fist. Get set. Naruto yet to move from his lazy standing position he had in the first place, doing his best to copy a statue. Go, Iruka said as he jumped out of the way. As soon as Iruka was out of the way, Sasuke charged, determined to show our blonde not to mess with an Uchiha. LOL the fool. Running at speeds the other students had a hard time keeping up with, running at blonde Uchiha, with his fist cocked back ready to cause damage. But to Naruto, he was painfully slow. Just as Sasuke's fist about to make contact, it was stopped by Naruto's open palm. Sasuke then felt a massive amount of pain in his stomach as he was sent airborne from a palm strike from Naruto. Forcing away the pain for now, Sasuke flipped in the air, landing just a few inches from the boundary. What the hell was that? Sasuke wondered. Doesn't matter, he won't get me this time. Sasuke ran as fast as his legs would carry him, then jumping into a flying kick aimed at the blonde's ribcage that Naruto caught with one hand. Sasuke then jerked his body to send another at Naruto's head. So our hero let go of Sasuke's leg and crouched down, sending the kick over his head. Adjusting his leg, Sasuke landed on it and used his body's momentum for a spin kick, only for it to be caught like if it was just hanging there. Not giving a second to breath, Naruto pushed Sasuke's standing leg, giving the raven-haired Uchiha a Charlie horse, but that was not the end of his pain. Standing as soon as pushed the leg, making it buckle, with a tight grip, lifted Sasuke of the ground to slam him back into it, making spider web creaks. Before Sasuke could slip into unconsciousness, Naruto kicked him in his chest, making him fly across the field into a tree, making said tree nearly give way under that amount of force. W winner by knockout Naruto Uzumaki. Said a god smacked Iruka. With the students. W what the hell just happened? Asked Sakura. Naruto just kicked the shit out of Sasuke. A male student said, scared of the blonde boy. That's not the only thing, said Shikamaru, looking at the whiskered boy. What do you mean, Shika? Choji asked, for once not eating anything, being too shocked to think about food. What I mean is Naruto didn't move from his spot, not once. That made everyone deathly quiet. Gradation day. The whole year went by with Naruto at the head of the class and Sasuke close second. No one wanted to fight the blonde for fear of getting hurt but Sasuke, who seen Naruto as an obstacle to overcome, so he could bring honor to the Uchiha name. But he always got his ass handed to him. Sasuke was still the favored one out of the two from the female population, but either really cared. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Choji became closer in their friendship and trained together every now and again. They even managed to get Hinata into their little gang, slowly bring her confidence to new highs. Is she still a shy girl? Yes, but she started to show real promise that even her father stopped belittling her. Naruto showed them how to do the Shadow Shuriken Jutsu that made solid copies for a short time. Everyone was waiting for Iruka to come in and give the last test to see if they were ready to be ninja. Everybody was fully of confidence, but Naruto's gang. They were watching Naruto and Shikamaru play another game of shogi, Naruto making Shikamaru rethink his strategies 3 times now. Okay, class, time for testing. I'll call your names one by one to see if you're ready to be ninja. As you know, Hokage-sama has sent a jonin to help with the test, as Mizuki was caught trying to alter test scores a month ago and is now away for 30 years getting a daily colonoscopy. Hate that guy, and I don't want to do the whole forbidden scroll thing. False back.